So let's write an essay. Okay, division and classification essay. So I hope you remember from last week. Whoops, that's not the end. I hope you remember from last week. We talked about. What did we talk about? We talked about the water crisis. Okay, we talked about that a little. Um, we're going to use that information. I think we're finished with this chapter. You guys can go ahead and do these things yourself, or you don't have to. Where is water? I can't find anything. Okay, here it is. Gamma writing. Writing, week 5. I don't know why I called it week 5. Now it's week 5. So remember this, we talked about water crisis. I was going to find you guys the transcript. So if you ever need to search for anything in this world, you got Google. Here's my Chrome. Why doesn't Chrome save anything? Let's see, world's water crisis. If you want to look for something called the transcript, okay, it'll give you the entire thing. Let's see. I guess people use this often in class. This is short. Too short. Wow, people have done a lot of research on this. Awesome. I just want the transcript. See if we can find it. The world's water crisis. Transcript. No, that's Mississippi. It's too short. Sorry. Just looking. Guess they don't have it. I wonder if I can pull the transcript. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. If I open this link, you can't hear it in here. Now I have to use my other browser. 30,000 browsers. Okay. I think you might be able to hear that. Okay, here's the transcript. I'm going to copy the whole thing for you. Yes. Copy transcript. Let's do it into not a Google Docs. Yeah, Google Docs. I'm just making stuff. Okay. Here is the entire transcript, huh? Water has value, 18 minutes. Okay, that's the transcript. Cool, so explained. Water's crisis, blah, 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 blah. This is the transcript. There's the information, yep. Boom, let's make it bigger. Let's call this transcript. Send it to you guys. My drive? Classroom. You guys can see everything I do. Nope, wrong classroom. Nope. Do we have something for water crisis? No, let's make it. Boo-ba-da-doo-doo-doo. Oops, there it is. Move it there. All right. I'm going to share this with you. You can see it. Remember, when you use Google Docs, whenever you want to share a link, make sure it's with anyone, not restricted. Always does that. All right, moving around, moving the ding dong. I'm sending you this document. You can go in and look at it. I need your help today. Okay, so if you're here with me, we're going to write this essay as a division and classification essay. Okay? And this is going to help us. What I need from you, if I can think straight today. So I want you to think about the basis of classification. So remember, when we're doing one of these division and classification essays, we're kind of splitting up these ideas. Okay? I want you to think about what we could do about finding different solutions they talk about, different results that they talk about, the causes of the water crisis. Okay? I want to send you this video. Again, I'm going to let you read through the transcript, find some information. It's a lot of information. Not this guy. I'm not going to use Brave. Okay. We have a lot of links today. What I want you to do is find some information. You're going to come in here, you're going to edit with me. We're going to look at water crisis. Let me just make sure this gets set up right there. Yep. I want to categorize this. We have three options. We can look at the different solutions for the water crisis. We can look at the different causes. Okay, we can look at the different results. So what I want you to do is either watch the video, write down some information, or find the information in the transcript. You can do something like this. If you're on a Windows computer, you got that cool option. You just slide things over and it'll put it into the box. Then we can do this and put it on this side. Whoops. Can I? There it is. Where's my other? There it is. Yeah. Okay. You can like do that. Have you ever used this before like that? It's amazing. It's wonderful. So you can watch, you can listen, you can see the transcript. If you're using this thing, you can also just copy and paste this data, right? What I want you to do is think about the different things that we talked about right here. Can you find some solutions in this video? Can you find some of the causes? What causes this water crisis? I'm going to say this one might be the easiest. This one might be the second. This one might be the most difficult, but it's there. Okay? So it's like you can make this smaller. You can find the information. You can maybe look causes. Maybe there is no cause, it's just because. You can watch this video and you can help me find some information about what we want to focus on. I can't play the video again because every time I play it, I get blocked on YouTube. So you can rewatch this right now. I'm going to give you a few. I don't know. Do you guys want to watch it again? Let's watch it again. I got to use Chrome though. I have to pause the recording. Is that right? Yeah. I'm going to pause this recording on my computer. Go ahead and start recording that. I'm not going to watch this again. All right, so we watched it twice, maybe. If you haven't watched it, watch it again. I think it's a great episode. It's a great series. There's many wonderful, topics that they talk about in this series explained that you can watch on Netflix, and you can use Language Reactor. All right, this is what we're going to do. You're going to help me, okay? I see the kebab cheese in there. What are some of these things? Let's break this up, okay? I want to talk about different solutions. You can go ahead and grab one of these sticky notes, type in your thing. We're going to talk about what types of solutions that you heard in this video. What are some of the results? What are some of the causes? And we're going to figure out which one we're going to write an essay today in 30 minutes about, okay? Some of the solutions. The biggest one I think is, I'm going to say value. I'm going to zoom in, sorry. Value water more, okay? So that means raising higher prices on water, right? Anybody else have anything? You can write it in the chat. Any causes or results, okay? I think the biggest one we see is war, conflict. Things like the Syrian civil war might have been caused by drought, higher prices. And those could be because of inflation in Turkey. It could be because, in Istanbul, they are thinking of a day zero is coming. And that video, if you watched it, called 25 liter, 25 liter, talks about that scenario. It kind of like in a sci-fi dystopian future Istanbul kind of a way. I think it's an interesting video for all of you to watch, and I think it kind of hits home a little bit. What are some causes of the water crisis? Did you guys take any information, find anything about that? One of those things they said in Mexico City was like leaking pipes. So just infrastructure, right? There's some like infrastructure problems. I'm going to make these closer so we can see everything. Yeah. What other things did you see in this video that can relate to solutions, causes, results, things that happen because of the water crisis? Next week, we're going to be talking about cause and effect essay. So, once we do a classification division essay, it's much easier to kind of go back and forth between this. You can't write your essay about water crisis. Sorry. I'm going to do that. Anything else? Write that in the chat box. There you go. Grab a sticker. You can grab it, you can drag it, you can move it, you can groove it. You can soothe it with water. Solutions. Yeah, see? Somebody's in there. Click on that Miro link that I sent in the chat box. You can fly around. I'm going to make you come to me. If you can. I'll go on. Let's see some solutions. One solution they said was this thing called desalinization. What does that mean? I'm going to make this bigger. What does desalinization mean? I'm going to do 3 for each. The century water consumption has increased. Yeah. What is that? Would that be a cause? I'm going to say that's a cause. I'm going to copy and paste. Yeah, see? Great. So tell me which it is. And yeah, what I'm going to probably say here, and great, you have a quote. This is a direct quote. We're using quotations. Actually, no, I'm going to put it on top. What would this be? Like, overpopulation, overusage. Let's call it overusage. Okay. A lot of this has to do with agriculture, right? That uses what? 70% It's agriculture. We're eating so much. 70% usage of water, right? 22% for industry. Cool. That's one I didn't write down. Thanks. Right? And directly related to this, I'm going to say one of the results is that, water prices are rising, like in Turkey. Yeah, that's what you told me. Sorry. It says are rising. Water prices are rising. It's a result of this water crisis. Maybe I should make the arrows go the other way, Bob. Who cares? Nobody cares, Bob. Yeah, someone's flying around. Okay. What's another thing? Type it in the box. If you're the only one doing it, awesome. I need your help. Can't do everything alone. I'm going to say one of the solutions, I think the biggest one they say. Oh, wait. Not the biggest. What happened in South Africa? What happens in other places in the world? How do you solve it? You reduce water. You reduce or conserve water resources, right? So they were able to drop their, usage in South Africa from 1.2 billion to 512 million gallons or liters. Okay, so that's one thing. I see some people in here. What's another cause? We have overusage. We have leaking pipes. Say overusage, probably the biggest thing here. And then I think directly related to as well, I would say pricing, right? So when water is so cheap, people waste it. Okay? And this whole idea of like, what is it? Growing alfalfa, which is a type of feed for cattle. Alfalfa in the desert, right? It's not the smartest thing to do. We can value it better. We can put that in there. That's one of the causes. What's another result? Anybody? Water prices are rising. Okay, and then the cost of all products go up, right? The food costs more to make. Any industry that uses water, every industry uses water for something. Okay, so everything will go up in price once you run out of water, right? If there's less water, you're gonna have to pay more for it. Okay, so this is our thing we're doing right now. What are we doing? What are we doing, Mr. Bob? We're classifying, right? We're classifying the information into different categories. We're finding the basis of classification. Do you remember that term from last week? Classifying our topics. Okay. And some of you helped me. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help. And yeah, there we go. If you have another one, go ahead, add that in. Okay. If you have a quote, maybe from, where's our quotes from? If you found the quote from here, put that quote there. So what was the one I was looking for? Mexico City leak. See, one of the critical results of this is we have 40% leakage in the water network. That's wasting water. Right? Yeah, so big. Yikes, Mr. Bob. Yikes. Okay, and that's one of the causes, right? These broken pipes. I'm going to use another thing here. If you guys don't understand what I'm doing, well, figure it out. And what do we need with this? Quotations, right? I copied it directly. And we can call this Netflix 2020. This is when this came out 2-ish years ago. Okay, so we're starting to build. We're starting to build upon our data that we have, our evidence, our specific supporting details, right? Some of these need more support. We're going to do that right now. We've included some quotes. We looked at 3 different things. We can't write a classification essay about all 3 of these things. We're going to have to just focus on one of these things to write it, okay? And then our body paragraph will be, there will be 3 of them related to each one of these, okay? I want to choose, what do you want to do? Write it in the box. Solutions, results, causes. I might veto you, which means I might disagree, but come on, choose the one I want to do. I'm going to write this essay right now. Tensions really did erupt in a way in which governments could not contain it, right? That's a quote that we can talk when we talk about what? War. Whoops. Go away, man. Let's use that same color. Right? So we have some more information. Nice. Yeah. And if you have, the website or whatever you're typing, you can just copy and paste. If you have a book, you have to copy it. If you have this transcript, which you can always find transcripts, I can teach you. Collapse of states, maybe, right? So yeah, war and conflict. I'm going to include the collapse of states in here. That thing that happened when collapse of states happens is usually related to conflict, or running out of money, I guess. Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit different, but it's related. So I'm going to just put them together, or not together, close to each other. There we go. All right. This is how we brainstorm. Okay. This is how we start to think about how we write our paper. I'm a very visual person. I'm sure most of you are as well. This is really important way to do this. Okay. I'm going to choose for our essay solutions. Okay. I like to focus on solutions. That's the kind of human being I am. Okay, so I want you to help me find some of these quotes for solutions. We're going to use, one of the solutions is to value water more. Okay, another solution is to, another solution is to reduce water resources or water usage. Sorry, let's call it conserve. No, you have to reduce water usage or conserve water resources. That's what I meant. Okay. So one is the similar. And then desalinization, which is kind of a small thing, but we can still talk about it enough. So if you guys can help me find information about desalinization, about value water more, this, I'm going to say, was the biggest part about this video. The fact that we don't value water enough. And this was probably, the second biggest thing. Starting talking about day 0 in blah, blah, blah. In South Africa. Country is called South Africa, Bob. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to open up a Google Docs. I'm going to share it with you. Doc Google. Yeah, sure. All right. We're going to get started. What? I don't want... No. Go to Docs. All right. Here is our Google Docs. This is Gamma Writing. Week 5. World's Water Crisis Essay. No. Something. blah, blah, blah. I gotta move this again, sorry. Move it into my classrooms. Move it into this class, EU, water crisis. I like to keep everything together. I'm gonna let you guys help me write this. I'm gonna change this again. Anyone with the link, this time we're gonna change it to editor. Okay. I need your help. Okay. You guys are like my research robots, people. Okay. Whenever we read an essay, remember we use Times New Roman. We're gonna use this font 12. We're gonna write our names. We're gonna do the class. We're gonna put the date. Okay. And then we're gonna move this all over to the left, title, and we start our essay here. Okay. This is how I always do it. This button is called align. You know, you guys know this. I'm gonna be myself today. Class GM 12. Date 30th of March. Woohoo! 2 more days, and then it's April. And then maybe it'll get warmer again. Okay, and the last thing we do, I need this to be double spaced. Okay. And remember when we write an introduction, okay, we want to, I like this way, going funneling, okay? So we want to talk about water first. You know, in the beginning of this video, they talked a lot. I guess I can kind of show it. They first start off with the problem, right? Talking about the water crises in South Africa, day 0. And then once it starts up again, wait, where's the part where yeah, here it is. Then it starts talking about how much water we use.
In fact, by 2040,
right? So introducing the problem. Where does it talk? Oh, here it is. Then it talks about how much water we have.
live. Kuwait is one of the poorest.
Right. How much water is in the world. I think it's here, yeah. How much percentage of that water. Okay, so what I want to start off with is just kind of this general information about water. Okay, so water is a human right that everyone and everything on Earth is capitalized, depends on. Right? Introducing, this is common knowledge, right? They mention human rights in this video, but you know, I'm gonna just cite this once. I'm gonna mention Netflix, water rights, blah blah, water crisis. I'll put the citation, in-text citation, right? And we can start from there. Okay, so how many million trillion? Let's say, as explained in Netflix's explained world's water crisis. I know it's long. There is 326 million trillion gallons. How many trillion gallons? That's a lot of water in the world, right? Just kind of giving this information, but we can only use 1% of that. 1%. Okay, if you guys are writing in American English, it's the number and then percent, just like the way we say it. I know in Turkey you guys do this, okay, and it's okay. But let's practice the English American way. But we can only use 1%. We can only use 1% of it. Why? Because it's the only fresh water, right? Right. The rest. So this is a fact. I'm going to put Netflix 2020. Let's go to the Scribber. Let's go to Scribber. Let's Let's make a new scribber. So remember this scribber thing, APA generator. Whoops. This will help us create these resources, these references. Okay. I want to look up a video. I'm going to type in Netflix explained world's water crisis. Okay. You can put in the link. So yeah, I'm going to put in the link. You can put it from Netflix. This is easier, I think, right? Press the cite button and boom! We got it. We got this reference. Okay. We're going to add this reference to the bottom right here. And this page is called reference. Boom. Look at that. So easy. So easy your grandmother could do this. Poor grandmother. She should help us write this. Okay. I'm not going to be using this all the time. I'm mentioning it now. X explained. I did it wrong. I'm so sorry. I don't have to write Netflix at the bottom. I use the title here, right? Netflix is explained 2020. I don't have to put it here. We'll put it there again later. There's 326 million trillion gallons of water in the world. But we can only use 1% of it. Okay. The rest is too salty or trapped in ice. Okay. So we're going to be focusing on what? Solutions, right? As the world experiences more drought and conflicts due to, what did they say? So it's not that we don't have enough water, it's just access due to the, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys at home can see, due to the lack of access to water. Right? Okay, so we're building up. We have this information. This is our introduction. We're talking about water. Then we're talking about how much water. Then we kind of start getting into like why there's a lack of access. We're not focusing on that. We're going to focus on the solutions, right? Right. So we talked about a little bit about conflict here as the world experiences more drought and conflicts due to the lack of water. As the world experiences, let's say, as problems related to the lack of access to water. Okay, all these problems continues to grow. Let's not use we. Did I use we? People. Let's get rid of first person. Okay, as the world, blah blah blah. I don't know, countries, nations. Maybe the world. The world has to look to we're looking for solutions as the problems related to the lack of access to water continues to grow. The world has to find, innovative solutions, innovative and, let's say, tough solutions, not tough, and drastic. Remember this word drastic? What did it mean? Like serious, right? Innovative and drastic solutions to help solve the world's water crisis. Okay, this is a hard thing I'm doing, trying to write in front of you guys online live. There's a mistake here. If you're using Google Docs and you have the language set to English, boom, it'll help you. As the problems related to lack of continue to grow, the world has to find innovative and drastic solutions to help solve the water crisis. So I'm narrowing, right? I went from talking about water, how much water there is, how little we can use, that there's problems now related to this, right? I don't have to mention them. I could add another sentence here, war, conflict. I can just mention them because we have to have a problem first before we can find a solution. I'm going to add it here. Okay. Rights, water rights, right? Rights to water, just like you have, democratic rights. Rights to water has caused, and see, this is why it's important to brainstorm, that we have all this information. Over usage, pricing, it's so cheap, causes of the water crisis. Even the results we're talking about. Rights to water has caused war, has caused, rights to, have caused, rights, right to water, have caused war, let's say conflict, the destabilization of nations, as Kaan mentioned, nations. What else? I don't know. People just not, famine, right? Not having enough water to grow food, things like that. What else did this causes? No, results. Water prices. I'm gonna just add famine because I think that's famine, not having food, right? Let's just say and other. Rights to water, rights. I don't like that word, rights to water. Let's say just reduction. And let's just say the water crisis. There. That sounds better. The water crisis has caused conflict. What kind of conflict? Between countries? Destabilization. To be destabilized, right? Stabilized, stability. So cool, man. D is to undo something. Destroy. I don't know what Troy means, but destabilization, famine, and I don't know, just and other issues. Good. So we listed some of these things, right? We have to kind of talk about a problem before we give a solution. Duh. As the problems related to the lack of water continue to grow, the world has to find innovative and drastic solutions to help solve the world's water crisis. Nice. And now we're going to write our thesis statement. Okay, so this is going to be our thesis statement. It could start with anything, but we're going to list those 3 things that we talked about as our solutions. Okay, we have to value water more. We have to reduce water usage or conserve water resources we have already. Right, those are 2 different things. And desalinization. And I'm going to say this is the weakest one. It's the most important one in the future, but it's the weakest one now. So let's start with desalinization. Okay. I guess no, I'm not going to talk about Netflix. We. Stop using we. Did I use we again? No, I didn't. Good. These solutions. What did we learn last time? We learned about when we write a thesis statement, we have 2 parts. Sorry, I'm just jumping around. right? So we have the basis for division. Some of these solutions are, we have the topic, that's what it is. So the topic, oh, there we go, here we go. The language of classification, I found it. There are blank kinds of blah, blah, blah. There are 3 types of elementary schools in our city, depending on how they are funded, right? Depending, we can use those words, according to, into 3 parts, according to. But yeah, we don't need to use these dividing further, but yeah. These solutions, not these. There are 3 solutions to the water crisis mentioned in the video. And then I could just list them. That's not really beautiful though. Let's get rid of mentioned. There are 3 solutions to the water crisis. There are 3 possible solutions to the water crisis that can be effective. Okay, since I mentioned 3, I'm making a list. I'm going to use that colon, 2 dots. Okay, and I'm going to list these. I'm going to say desalinization. This is going to be the first one I talk about, desalinization. Somebody help me find some research on desalinization. Go for it. Go into the Google Docs that talks about the transcript. What's the next one? Go. Reduce water usage. Okay. Let's say reduce water usage. And value water more. So this doesn't, okay, reducing. So this is what we call parallel structure. This is a noun, right? So we need to make this into a noun. We can make this into a noun as well by adding the ing, right? That's right. Is that okay? Does that look like a good? We can also get rid of this and say are. That can be effective. Are. Desalinization. Was this wrong? Desalination. Desalination. Sorry. It's a country. Are desalination, reducing water usage, and valuing water more. What do you guys think? Let's make a cheap title right now. Solutions to the world's water crisis. Not Bob's water crisis. Not your water crisis. The world's. What do you think? Thumbs up? We're running out of time. Okay. I need your help. Give me some information about desalinization. What is desalination? What is desalination? Is turning salty water, salty brackish, that's the word, salty brackish water from the sea into clean, drinkable, I don't know, let's say usable. Not everything will be drunk. Clean, usable water. Okay, if we look, I know we're running out of time. What's happening? Where's that thing? Oh, there it is. Why did I put it here? I feel like I'm playing video games. Because I am. Class is a video game. Okay. Remember I had this transcript. Let's look at desalination. You can always do a control F, right? You can find stuff. Right, here it is. See? It has more than doubled, creating more of it. This is what it is. Okay, maybe I don't know what the meaning is, but I remember I might look on another thing. I might do some more research on desalination. Right? And if I do, I might find some more information that I could use. I'm not going to do that right now, maybe later. Has more than doubled over the last decade. Great. Still adds up to less than 10%. I'm going to find that in the video. How am I going to find it, guys? I'm going to use this guy. I think I can search for desalination. Nope. Can I search? That would be cool. But it doesn't look like I can. Can anybody see? Anybody find Anybody find the time code for me? Is there a time code anywhere? I feel like it's at the end. There it is. Okay, here we go.
Desalination.
Desalination. I can't even say that word.
Desalination of ocean water has more than doubled over the last decade.
Okay.
But the amount we make a year still adds up to less than 1% of the water we use.
Perfect. Okay. So we can list some data like this. These are statistics, right? 1533 total water usage in these years, right? Is 3,926 kilometers cubed. Wow. Sounds like a lot. Is it a lot? Yes. Okay. So this is where we can use a quotation or a paraphrase. Why don't we use the quotation? I want to practice. I'm going to copy this whole thing from this part. Boom. Whoops. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to clip that in. Okay, and when we copy and paste, guys, what do? We have to put quotations around it. Okay, and what do we have to add? We have to add Netflix 2020. Okay, because that's what we found as our reference using the Scribr APA thing, right? This was put on 2020. And there, you didn't steal anything, but it's not usable right now. Okay, we still have to kind of, that's not usable because it's spelled wrong. Okay, the technology is still relatively new. What did they also say? They say that it requires lots of money.
That takes a lot of money and it takes a huge amount of energy right now.
That would make more sense if water was more valuable. But that would also mean the water...
Okay, so it takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of energy. Is it still relatively new? The technology is still relatively new and requires a lot of money and energy. Boom. Also Netflix 2020. Right? I wrote this one myself. Okay, this is called a paraphrase. All right. I'm going to just comment on this. This is a paraphrase. I didn't take it directly. I used my own words. I didn't mention Netflix, so I need to put that in-text citation at the end. Paraphrase with in-text citation. Boom! Okay. I don't think that's a good place for it. I think this is... And we can use lots of information here, you know. What else? What else do we know? What else do we know? We can list those numbers. I'm just going to load it with data, okay? What's the data? I know we have to go soon, but...
That would make more sense.
That takes a lot of money and it takes to desalinate water, that is to take ocean or brackish water that has a lot of salts in it from underground and treat. We've been waiting for the holy grail of breakthrough in how expensive it is to desalinate water, that is to take ocean or brackish water that has a lot of salts in it from underground and treat it to drinking water standards.
Or from the ocean, not just underground. Okay.
Desalination of ocean water has more than doubled over the last decade, but the amount we make a year still adds up to less than one.
Okay, so I'm gonna mention this. In 2007. Okay, so that was a direct quote that we used before that. In 2007, how much? 15 kilometers cubed were created with, how do you do cube? You have to do superscript. I know. You're like, I hate this. This is so boring. Were created with desalination. In 2015, desalination, and increased to 33 kilometers squared, which is less than 1%. Everything's 1% of water usage in the year. Water usage in the year. Okay, here's another paraphrase, right? This information, it didn't say it, but I saw it as a graph. I can use information from charts and graphs the same way. It's less than 1%, 33 kilometers cubed. Let's do, does it for? No. Come on. I gotta do that format. There's a shortcut. I don't want to learn it. It's command thing. Okay. Less percentage of the year. Okay. This one is what we call a direct quote. I'm gonna just note that. This is a quotation. I'm gonna say direct quotation. There's a difference. With an in-text citation. So we have a lot of information that we just pulled. A lot of times, this whole thing is from that, I rewrote some of it. I quoted some of it. It's okay, in my opinion, to just write it only once. I'm just going to write it twice. I should add another one here too. But then it starts looking, you should do it when you switch between different information. So there's a lot of details here. There's a lot of data, right? And I'm going to end this sentence. I'm going to stop this class soon. I'll finish this essay on my own. I'll send it as a video for you. But you can start to see the process of how we pre-write, how we write the essays. This is something I've done research about, so I'm knowledgeable about. I've watched this video twice in this class, maybe 20 times already. So I do know this video very well. That's your job as a student, as a researcher. Okay. Yeah, so the technology is relatively new and requires a lot of money and energy. This solution is a long ways away from completely solving the world's water crisis. But this solution is a long ways away. It's far away from completely solving the world's water crisis. But what? But it can help, contribute, provide clean water to people in the future. Like Israel is really working on this solution. Is far away from completely solving. And this could be our our concluding sentence. But I want to transition into the next part, what am I going to talk about? I was going to say reducing water. So yeah, why don't I say something like that, if I can find Chrome. But it can help provide clean water to people in the future, as well as help conserve. Let's change it. Conserve water resources. There. All right. We're going to go into talking about water. This will be the next part. Conserve water resources. Right. The last one will be valuing water more, which means paying more for it. This will be our second one. We're going to need a conclusion at somewhere at the end, right? What do you think? Our essay, we're writing together. With your help, with your knowledge. Yeah. Watch the video as many times as you need to. Look at those references. Think about how you can organize some of this data, this evidence, statistics into different categories. Categories like, causes, results, solutions, things like that. All right. So we have 2. That's fine. Let's do... I'm going to finish this essay that we started last week. Did we start it last week? World water crisis, still talking about this. And yeah, we were talking about the solutions. Right? So here, right, we have these results, the causes. I guess the results also equals the effects. Right? So we could write a cause and effect essay. Really, if we wanted to. But I chose to talk about the solutions. Okay? Good job. Hey, you're in here. You guys are good. Oh, I'll send you the link. But somebody's already here. Ooh, who's here? That's nice. Here's the link. So we talked about this. There was a video. We have all this stuff, right? There's the notes that I took. And when you're watching videos, try to take notes, practice. Just get better at it, You don't have to make them full sentences, explain the world water crisis, Cape Town. Even if you're reading something, if you're finding a research article, you should always write notes. And if it's on a piece of paper, if you're reading a paper, just write with a pencil, If it's a book, unless it's not yours, unless you got it from the library or you borrowed the book from your teacher, don't write in it. But yeah, we have all this information we could use for our essay. We don't have to find another article, but maybe today we will. To write a different type of essay. Okay. MC equals Mexico City. Okay. Sinking. Gallons of fresh water. We're not going to watch the video again, but I always recommend watching videos, especially things that you like, movies that you like. Watching them again helps you understand the language better, a deeper understanding, right? So if you like a movie, try watching it again. Don't just keep going to the next movie. Because once you understand the story, then you can start seeing the details, right? Just like if you're doing research, now you know the general information, start digging deeper. Okay, so benefit of valuing water. If you don't value water, we pollute it, we destroy it, we waste it. Wars are fought. One of the solutions is desalination. Ooh, nice. I gotta turn on my iPad. Hold on. Yeah, how do we improve people's lives? Yeah, if you look at this, you might not understand all the notes, but if you watch the video, you'll get a better understanding, right? Try watching a video and then looking at your notes again. or if you ever have to listen to like a lecture, like mine, take notes. Why? Because it helps you actually memorize things when you're writing notes. That's why we write notes. Sometimes so that we can look for the information again. That's a good student. But usually it's because if you write something and you're listening, you make a connection. It's stronger. Okay. It just makes it stronger. And then I have this idea. Everybody needs a second brain. Okay. You have this one that's working, but it doesn't always work so well. If you don't sleep, if you don't eat well, if you have too many things, if you have stress, anxiety, fear, your brain doesn't work so well. So we need a second brain. Some people use like a notebook, little green notebook. Some people use some tools like Miro. You could use your phone, obviously, your notes app. Okay. You could use just a voice recorder and record everything. It's a nice way. Think about how you could use a second brain. A little brain that stores things long term, forever. Okay? And then you can take from the second brain and then put it into your long-term memory. All right. Enough about that. Let's get to this essay. I have 2 more paragraphs and a conclusion. How do I go here? Man, I keep doing this. Okay, get out of the frame. Ungroup. You're the light in the darkest hour. All right. So here's our essay. Stick along with me. I know writing an essay isn't always the most exciting thing. Let's change the date since we're still working on this. It's the 6th of April. This is week 6. We're kind of almost there. Two-thirds more to go, including today. Solutions to the world's water crisis. This essay we started last week. Did we? Yeah. We have our pre-writing, all of our brainstorming. Some of you helped me with. Okay. So we have all these ideas. And so when you plan anything, when you build a house, an architect makes the plans. The contractor, the construction people build the house. Same thing when you write an essay. If you have poor planning, okay, your essay is going to fall apart. If you have poor materials in your essay, which is like your data, your statistics, your information, your evidence, then your essay falls apart too. So don't have your essays fall apart. Don't have your houses fall apart. Do the work. Do the research before you start writing. Okay? If there's a topic that we're talking about, then please find out more information. Okay? The more information you have, the better, the closer you are maybe to like an expert almost. Maybe not expert, but knowledgeable, right? We don't have to become masters of something to have fun, right? You don't have to be a master guitarist to enjoy playing guitar, okay? But being knowledgeable of something doesn't take that much time. They say it takes 8 hours to do something. That means 8 focused hours of practicing guitar. And not just in one day, but 30 minutes over 16 days. If you just do that, you do it well, you can know how to play something, right? All right, let me read this to you. See if there's any mistakes. Water is a human right that everyone and everything on earth depends on. Sorry, before I begin, can you guys both hear me? Is it better now? Had some audio problems before. Is it still cutting out? No problem. Yes. Perfect. Okay. As explained in Netflix's Explained World's Water Crisis 2020. Why do I put 2020? This is what we call as in-text citation. Okay. Here's another one of these in-text citation. A citation is when we cite something, where we got the information from, right? C-I-T-E is the verb. Citation is the noun. So I cited where I got this information. Okay. There is 326 million trillion gallons of water in the world, but people can only use 1% of it. Okay. That's where I got this information from. If I had removed this, let's say, let's just pretend. Let's make a suggestion. I'm going to remove this. Then I need to put here Netflix 2020. Okay. And the title needs to be in there because, you know, I wanted to tell you where I got it from. That's one way of doing it. Let's just leave it like that so you can see it. Okay. The rest is too salty or trapped in ice. Okay. So 99% of the water in the world. And, you know, it's really interesting when you think about water. That the same amount of water has been on the earth forever. Okay. 326 million trillion gallons of water. That's a lot of water. And then that water, the molecules, the H and the 2 and the O, that's been around forever. So you've drunk the water that, like, I don't know, Albert Einstein drank, or that a caveman drunk, or drank. So yeah, I find that very interesting that we've been like all drinking, maybe, you know, like a little bit of the water that everybody in the world has ever drunk. Yeah. All right, the water crisis has caused conflict. Okay, so I'm talking about causes. I don't have to, but I'm giving more information, right? Between countries, destabilization of nations, destabilize of nations, famine, and other issues. As the problem related to the lack of access to water related to the lack of water continue to grow. There's more than one problem. We don't need the S, right? This is our subject here. Let me just write that. Subject of our sentence. I should share this with you. Sorry. But you can also click on it. Wait. Do you guys like these Miro things? I want to make a board with all of the Miro boards. This is like my way of taking notes. You guys can see the textbooks and things like that. Okay. As the problems related to the lack of water continue to grow, the world has to find innovative and drastic. Remember this word drastic? What does it mean? Drastic. Extreme. Okay. Some of those solutions need to be extreme, like just cutting people's water, turning off the tap every day or every other day, you know? So you have to fill up your water things on Monday and Tuesday. There's no water in your tap. You know, those are the things we're going to have to do, guys. So start practicing now. Taking bucket baths. Drastic solutions to help solve the world's water crisis. There are 3 possible solutions to the water crisis that can be effective. There are 3 that can be effective. No, that's not a good sentence. That's not correct. I guess we don't need there are. I'll make a list. Sorry. Go back to editing. Desalination, sorry. I always say desalinization. Reducing water usage and valuing water more. Okay, so we wrote about this one. Desalination is turning salty, brackish water from the sea into clean, usable water. Okay. I could say that I got that from Netflix, but I don't need to. Desalination of ocean water has more than doubled over the last decade, but the amount we make a year will still adds up to less than 1% of the water we use. Okay, we got this directly. Okay, this is what we call a direct quote. Okay. This one I put in quotation marks because the lady says this in the Netflix video, the lady with the glasses. Okay, I used one of these direct quote. Oh, I already wrote that. Direct quotation with an in-text citation. Ooh. 2007-15, where with increase, which is less than 1% of the water usage in the year. This one was like a graph. Remember, we saw this like picture, this chart of how much water, this much out of 3,900 something kilometers cubed. Just less than 1% usage. Still relatively new, requires a lot of money and energy. I feel like I'm using too many quotes here, so this is like kind of common knowledge. Let's call this the paraphrase here. I don't like back-to-back quotes. So let's not make this. Let's add more detail. Okay. The technology. I don't know. There needs to be more research and development on desalination before it can be a true solution. I feel like I said that. In 2007, Greece still really new. I'm going to just erase this quote. This one definitely came from paraphrase. So paraphrase is when we take the information, we rewrite it, we write it again. I don't think I need this. It's too many. This solution is far from completely solving the world's water crisis, but it can help provide clean water to people in the future, as well as help conserve water resources. Okay? So my best thing when you're writing and you're using quotes, whether they're direct quotes, indirect quotes, what we call paraphrase, is that you use the quote, you explain the quote, put another quote, explain the quote, and then sum it up, right? The solution. It's a good solution, you know, if we can do it. All right. Got it? Got it. Cool. Let's do the next one. Conserve water resources. What did we talk about? Conserving water resources. Is there something they say about saving water? Let's find out. Oh, yeah. You talk about South Africa. All right. So conserve water resources. You know, was conserve water resources. Okay. So I use this last little concluding sentence as a way to transition to the next paragraph, right? And one nice thing, you can also like double do it, and you can like refer back. So you can say like, besides desalination, you can start with something like desalination. Desalination is a far away. Sorry, let me move my mic. Desalination is still a new technology. So we need to be able to save the water that we currently have. We need to save and protect. Okay. Right? Because if we destroy it, if we pollute it, if we add chemicals to the water, like they're doing in California, or not California, United States, destroying our rivers, trains are falling with chemicals on them, and I gotta mute my phone. Okay, there we go. Conserve water resources. Okay, it's new technology. We need to be able to save and protect the water that we currently have. One way is by limiting our personal water usage. How much does personal water usage use of all the 1%? Out of 1% of the water, industry uses so much. Agriculture uses a lot, the most. Industry is like 22%. What was it? 77, 22. I don't know. I think it's 7%. Let's limit our personal water use by turning off the tap. However, industry and especially agriculture are the biggest. You guys know the word culprit? It's like a person in a crime. The culprit is the person that committed the crime. We can look this up. Culprit, a person who is responsible for the crime or other misdeed, the cause of a problem or a defect. Okay, so you can use this word when we're talking about these kind of problems. I'm going to go back here because I remember I wrote something about the percentage, right? No. Hamburgers. Oh, here it is. 8% is personal use, 70% is agriculture, 22% is industry. I'm going to use that information, not directly, but indirectly. So personal water usage is 8% of the available water. But agriculture uses, 70%? And, math and industry uses 22% of all water. And I got this from where? From Netflix. From this thing. 2020. Did I put the reference page? I did. Look at that. See? There's our reference, Netflix 2020. If you're using a YouTube channel, this is what the format looks like. The title, the long title, that it's a video, that it's from YouTube, and what is the link. And you have to put the date, the full date for these things, just like a newspaper article. It's 8% of, but agriculture uses 70%, and industry uses 20% of all water. Okay, that's not our information, right? I didn't find that. I didn't do the research. I didn't go and ask. Even if I asked a scientist, it's the scientist that told me the information. Right? And does it make me look weak? No. Okay, I'm getting information and I'm using it and I'm throwing it in. Let's just focus on agriculture. Agriculture uses old methods like flooding that are wasteful and harmful to the environment, right? If you flood the fields and there's pesticides in it, so we need to limit, we need to stop them. Turning off the tap. Sorry, let's add some more. One way is by limiting our personal use by turning off the tap. What's another way you can save water? Taking shorter showers. And having low water. I don't know. Dry weather. Plants. And lawns. What is a lawn? A lawn is like the grass in front of your house. If you have a house, if you have plants or things like that, using plants that, what would we call these? Like succulents, Let's call them less water intensive. Having less water intensive plants and lawns. I guess we can also reduce our consumption of, of products that require a lot of water, such as beef, which uses, how many gallons does beef use? See, I took these notes. I kind of remember the notes. Beef for 1 kilogram equals, is that right? Oh, yeah. 15,000 liters. Is it 15,000? I guess so, because a quarter pounders, yeah. That's a lot. Which uses 15,000 liters of water per kilogram. Where did I get this information from? Netflix. Is it good to only have one source of information? No, but we're just practicing a little bit here. Okay? We can also reduce our consumption of products that require a lot of water. Okay, such as beef, which uses 15,000. This is extra information. I need a comma. Which uses 15,000 liters of water per kilogram. Netflix 2020. Right? Building this out. This is our paragraph about conserving. Be able to conserve. I don't want to use the word save. I need to use the word conserve. Repeating our keywords, right? This is how we get the unity in our paragraphs. They sound similar. Okay, but agriculture uses, so within this conserving, we're talking about different parts, okay? about the personal, about the industry, not so much, but mainly about agriculture. Agriculture uses old methods like farming that are wasteful and harmful to the environment and our groundwater and our freshwater supplies. Freshwater. I guess they want it to be together. Therefore, there needs to be regulations on how much water there is, just people who don't follow these rules, break the rules all the time. Therefore, there needs to be regulation on how much water, regulations and penalties. Again, you make a law, it doesn't mean anything. When you make penalties, then people, this is how humans are, If you don't discipline a child, if you don't give some kind of penalty or consequences to people, they will always do the same thing. Needs to be regulations and penalties on how much water on regulations for how much water industry and agriculture can use. I'm going to transition into our last part, okay? And our last part is about valuing water more by, let's say, increasing the price and value of water. I don't want to start by. Therefore, there needs to be regulation for penalties for how much water industry and agriculture can use. Okay. I mean, the biggest thing consumers like you guys can do is like, if something uses a lot of resources, it's bad for the environment, it's just stop buying it, right? Stop buying like clothes at a certain place because they're harmful to workers. We stop buying something because of, let's say, allegations of sexual harassment in a workplace. You just say, nope, not going there. Do you guys watch Rick and Morty? Anybody a Rick and Morty fan out there? Anyways, I'm getting political. If you are, well, that's a weird story. It's not. Both of those creators are problematic men. Okay. We can conserve our water by limiting water use and increasing the price and value of water. Boom. Okay. And this goes into the next part, right? They're kind of different. One is like, I'm not going to use this much. I'm not going to use this much. You're not going to buy things that use this much. Agriculture should be stopped, So it's not like they're... But how do we stop people from wasting water? Well, we increase the price because we value water more. So here again, say here, I transition in my concluding sentence. Okay, I transition to the next. And you don't always have to do this, okay? I'm showing you, okay? And I like to always reuse my words, right? So here's another use. This is, the key word or phrases are repeated. Okay. This is what we call unity. We talked about this before. Adding comments. You guys can look at it. There's a dolphin in here. Yay. Okay. What do you think? This paragraph. And before I start the next paragraph, I usually read my own paragraph. I actually usually reread the entire thing just to make sure, I set my plan, I have my pre-writing activity, I have my goals. Does it match? Okay. Sometimes we make something, like we're in the kitchen, we're cooking something, and you're like, I'm going to make something nice. And then, I don't know, an hour later, you look at your food that you're cooking and you're like, why did I put that in here? I was making a coleslaw, which is like cabbage. I like purple cabbage. Purple cabbage, onions, thinly sliced, so they're really strong flavor. And then carrots. And then I put vinegar and I kind of mix it up. Okay. And then I got some new mustard. What is mustard? Hardal. And I didn't taste it first. And I threw like 2 kind of big spoons. And then I put the mayonnaise. And I put the vinegar. I told you to put the vinegar. Then I put the salt. And then I put the pepper. And I mixed it. And I tasted it. And it was just too strong. The mustard was a different type of mustard. It was really sour. Okay. Sometimes you think like, oh, I put too much of something, put too little of something else. I don't know if I need to add sugar because it's like really salty, really, really sour. I don't have a recipe. I just eyeball it. I sometimes just taste test things. I'm gonna read this again because I don't know. No, I'm gonna read this paragraph first, then I'll read it again. Desalination is still a new technology, so we need to be able to conserve and protect the water that we currently have, right? This one, you don't have to do this, but I'm just showing you, in the topic sentence. Let's check our topic sentences. Are they good? It just gives us information, yeah. This one links back to the previous paragraph, right? So remember, your reader is like not very smart. Just assume, okay? Some people are really smart. Most people are just reading it quickly, or they're busy, or they're occupied. So you always want to remind them, okay? It's like this thing about mansplaining, I think is very interesting. Like, what is mansplaining? When is it mansplaining? And when is it, what's it called? When it's just like trying to give people information or not. I don't ever assume that anybody knows anything that I know. Okay? For me, it's like kind of an act of kindness because I talk about very, very difficult things sometimes. And when I explain it, they're like, yeah, I know what that is. And I say, okay, cool. I'm not trying to be smarter than, I'm actually trying to explain things. That's what teachers do. But yeah, what did they say? It's only mansplaining if the guy is not cute. Just kidding. Desalination is still a new technology. So we need to be able to conserve and protect the water that we currently have, right? So this is going to be our topic. We need to. I don't like we. How many times do I use we? We can always do Control F to find the we. We use we a lot in this sentence. And I don't use it. I use it a little. Oh, wait, that's not we. No, I don't use it at all. Oh, I did a good job in the beginning. Okay. So academic voice, try to stay away from first person. Okay. So let's change all these we's to people. People need to be able to conserve and protect the water that they currently have. Okay. Consumers are anybody that buys anything, okay, can also reduce their consumption of products that require a lot of water, such as beef, which uses, okay, so I got rid of that one. At the end, let's just make water the subject of this answer. Water can be conserved. See? Then you don't even need a subject. Now we're using the passive voice, right? Can be conserved. This here's the passive voice. And we use passive voice so we don't have to talk about, right? About a subject, a doer, the agent. Okay? We can remove it. Of course, who uses it? People, water, we, us, all of us. So passive voice can help you remove the agent, the doer, from your essay, from your writing, which makes it more academic. Okay, so I got rid of the we. We. No more we's. The we's that they have are from the quotes, actually. So, and why do we use this when we're telling people things? Because we're trying to get people to believe you, right? If you say we, then all of a sudden, oh, you're talking about me too, right? I should save water too, right? You know, and it's not like only you, that second person, right? It's not blaming you. It's just saying that this is our problem. We is probably the best word that you can use when you're trying to get help from people. You know, we need to help our brothers and sisters. We need to help our animals and pets and blah, blah, blah. Water can be conserved by limiting water use, increasing the price and value of water, right? Let me read this again. It's still new technology, so people need to be able to conserve and protect the waters that they currently have, right? It sounds impersonal, but that's fine. One way is by limiting, just get rid of limiting personal water use by turning off the tap, taking shorter showers. Let me turn off this. And having less water-intensive plants and lawns. Okay. I don't think many people have lawns here. There's not a lot of grass. Consumers can also reduce their consumption of products that require a lot of water, such as beef, which uses 15,000 liters of water per kilogram. Netflix 2020. However, industry and especially agriculture are the biggest culprit. Remember what culprit means? I'm going to just add it so you know. The cause of the problem or defect. Ooh, defect. Remember that word? Let's put a definition. So when you guys are writing your essays, you can look at mine. You can't use this topic. Okay. Personal water usage is 8% of the available what? Available fresh water. But agriculture uses 70%, and industry uses 20% of all water. Netflix 2020. Okay. It's good to have like one quote at least. Okay. Some kind of information, you know, in each paragraph. One or two. Probably maximum. Okay. Agriculture uses old methods like flooding that are wasteful and harmful to the environment and our fresh water supply. Therefore, there needs to be regulation and penalties for how much water industry and agriculture can use. I'm kind of throwing another solution to saving the water. Let me add something so we can use better through technology and investment. Okay. Farms. So what do they say? I was listening to a podcast about alfalfa. This alfalfa is a sprout. Okay, it comes out from a seed, and then they take it immediately. Okay, whenever you eat like sprouts, something that's young and it's still growing into like a big thing, it has a lot of protein. Why? Because it needs protein to grow, just like you and I. And so when you sprout something from a seed, I don't know if you guys find seeds, but you can sprout like sunflower and things like that. You know, and those little the beans, you know, what's it called? Those little bean sprouts. If you ever been to like an Asian restaurant, like a Korean restaurant might have this as the little bimbap or the pancha. those are like high in protein and water because that's what the plant needs to grow. And so alfalfa, that's what they do. They just flood the fields with water. There's better ways of doing it. It's still the cheapest way is to just flood the waters because you don't have to buy any new technology. You don't have to protect these pipes where the water comes out and gives the water, these drip irrigation techniques where the water just goes and you don't waste water. You don't, on a sunny day, if you flood a field, most of the water evaporates. It turns to gas, steam, and then it leaves, right? So using flooding techniques in arid areas means like very hot, very dry areas is very wasteful, but that's what people do, and that's what they're doing in Mexicali. The farmer people who are trying to protect their water were also destroying water, or we're growing alfalfa in the desert, right? So there's an irony there. There's technology and investment. Farms can be more efficient with water usage. Be more efficient with water and less wasteful. Okay. I just explained this a little bit more, right? Maybe I did some extra research and I might actually add more, but that's one way. They mentioned that in Netflix, but I think that one's pretty common. Therefore, there needs to be regulations and penalties for how much water can use. Let's say that also. There's no therefore. Also needs to be regulations and penalties for how much water industry and agriculture can use. Water can be conserved by limiting water usage and also by increasing the price and value of water. Okay, so this one talks about limiting water usage. This one talks about desalination. This is our introduction. You guys are probably bored, but it's really good for you. Just watch. Water is a human right that everyone and everything on earth depends on. Okay, I like to reread things. There are. I want to undo this. I just wanted to show you, but we need an example of one of these types. So you can accept a change that your teacher makes. I'm not trying to change it. I'm just showing you the mistake. You can deny it. Okay, as explained in Netflix's. So here's the author or the creator of the article or video, right? Of the source. Let's call it the source of water. So all I need is this one. It's an in-text citation, but what do we call this? Intersentence? I don't know. Intersentence. There's 26 million trillion gallons of water in the world, but people can only use 1% of it. Okay, I feel like right now this is probably common knowledge, but let's include Netflix. I'm gonna not use this now. You only need to do it once. Okay, you need to cite it once. The rest is too salty or trapped in ice. The water crisis has caused conflict between countries, destabilization of nations, famine, and other issues. As the problems related to the lack of access to water continue to grow, the world has to find innovative and drastic solutions, extreme solutions to help solve the world water crisis. There are 3 possible solutions to the water crisis that can be effective: desalination, reducing water usage, and valuing water more. So some people, when they write their essays, they put the most important thing first and the least important thing last. I kind of think the better way, especially because the last thing somebody reads is the most important and they'll remember it the most. Sorry, not the most important. The last thing somebody reads, they'll remember it. Okay? So whenever you finish a speech, whenever you tell your friends something, the last thing you tell them, like, hey, make sure that you do this for me before you say goodnight, you know? That's how people remember things. All right. So we have our this is our thesis statement, right? Does it look good? Does our thesis statement look good? So 1 is desalination, right? We have our basis of classification, how we break this up. And then 3 is valuing water more, okay? Water. Oh, I didn't like that. Oh yeah, I remember. I changed this. Conserving water, okay? So yeah, I changed the wording, right? So I made a mistake and I need to change this one. Conserving water usage. Conserving water, not usage. Just conserving water is reducing water usage. Conserve water, save water. Okay? There's a little mistake. Of course, you're writing. Nothing is perfect. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be talking about desalination is turning salty, brackish water from the sea into clean, usable water. Desalination of ocean water has more than doubled over the last decade, but the amount we make a year still adds up to less than 1% of the water we use. That is a direct quote. That lady said that. Okay, so I have to put the quotations around it. I'll try to make another direct quotation. Okay. Right. So it's only 1%. So I want to explain it a little. And I use this citation, Netflix 2020. You're going to see this all everywhere. There needs to be more research and development on desalination before it can be a true solution. In 2007, 15 blah, 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 we created. This was from the chart that we found. So it's not like a direct quote. We're looking at something. We're writing. We're explaining a chart, a graph, some kind of visual, which is less than... I'm going to explain that here. From in-text citation, this came from a visual in the video. Okay. The technology is still relatively new and requires a lot of money and energy. I'm going to combine these because I did take this. I don't want to borrow. Let's combine this into kind of one idea. Sometimes we can use semicolons, okay? These are kind of related, right? Just less than 1%, the technology new requires lots of energy. Why do I use this? It's 2 sentences, but they're so closely related that I feel that they could join each other. So, and that's how you can make it so that those 2 sentences kind of join together into one. Then I just use 1, 2 quotations, 3, 4 different ideas. This solution is far away, let's say far from completely solving the world's water crisis, but it can help provide clean water to people in the future, as well as help conserve water resources, right? So by using desalination, we don't have to use groundwater. We don't have to destroy our rivers and lakes, drain our lakes, or make dams and things like that. We can offset. We can use a little bit of desalination in the future, and some of the fresh water. We're almost done, guys. Let's try to write this. And I don't know if I like having this here, but we'll leave it for now. It's still a new technology, so people need to be able to conserve and protect the water that they currently have, right? I think protecting and conservation of the forest, right? It's protecting the forest. Conserving your water is protecting. Those are similar ideas. I might want to use the word protect. I don't know. One way is by limiting personal water use by turning off the tap, taking shorter showers, and having less water-intensive plants and lawns. That's the grass in your house, front of your house if you have. Consumers can also reduce their consumption of products that require a lot of water, such as beef, which uses 15,000 liters of water per kilogram. Netflix 2020. However, industry and especially agriculture are the biggest culprit. Personal water usage is 8% of the available fresh water, but agriculture uses 70% and industry uses 22% of all water. I want to change the order of this. Remember this idea that the last thing you say is the most important thing. Industry uses, so I'm going to use this at the end. And agriculture uses 70% of all water, right? Makes it a little stronger. Netflix 2020. Yeah. This is a paraphrase. Paraphrase with in-text citation. Agriculture uses old methods like flooding that are wasteful and harmful to the environment and our fresh water supplies. If you know this, then you know it. If you found it in Netflix, then cite it. I already knew these. Through technology investment, farmers can be more efficient with water and less wasteful. Right? Through technology and investment. Let's say technology such as drip irrigation, smart irrigation, and investment in infrastructure. I don't know, like pipes and stuff like that. Just, it's nice to make things longer. Infrastructure. Farms can be more efficient with water and less wasteful. There also needs to be regulations and penalties for how much water industry and agriculture can use. That's a weird one. For how much water industry. So these are together. Agriculture can use. How do I rewrite that to make that clearer? I'll do that. Penalties for industry and agriculture. Concerning how much water they use. Okay. I don't know if that's better. But that's a rewrite thing. If you guys are watching, you can see how I'm rewriting something. Water can be conserved by limiting water use and also by increasing the price and value of water. We got 8 minutes. Let's do this. Okay. So we just talked about conserving water, valuing water more, and increasing its price, can help serve and protect our water. So I'm kind of like flipping it around. Okay. What did they say? Water is like, it's not oil, it's a commodity. A commodity is something that we all have, we all use. So anything like bread is a commodity. Oil, gas, these are things that everybody has, they use. That everyone needs in order to survive. They mentioned that in Netflix. I don't want to use that quote. I don't have it written down anywhere. But I might watch the video again to do that, right? But let's do a lot of if statements here. Everyone needs in order to survive. However, we do not value it enough until it is gone. So let's mention that South Africa, Cape Town. I made a mistake. Good. Cape Town, South Africa. I don't need to put South Africa. Cape Town, nearly I don't know, lost its water supply. It is. It's ITS, no apostrophe, is the possessive. Okay. IT apostrophe S is the contraction. It is. Okay. So it's, that means the possessive. Everybody makes that mistake. Don't worry. Just double check when you're reading. Always look at it. See if it's the correct it. Look at there, THERE. Make sure it's the right one. Nearly lost, I don't know, nearly ran out of water. What year was this? 2018, I think. Did we say? Can we find out? Let's see. Cape Town. And this is just the date, so I'm not stealing information. It should be common knowledge. 20 gallons. This is 2018. When did it start? 2018. Let's just put 2018. But the people, but the population, but the Cape Towners, no, but the people were able to conserve water because it was valuable. I want to talk about Cape Town. How we do not value it enough until it is gone. Yeah. Water, conserve water once there was a crisis. Okay. We pollute and waste water when we do not value it. Okay. How many in Mexico City? How much percentage is leaking from the pipes? Does anybody remember? Do you remember when it was 5 September? I was 50. So it uses 50% now. Mexico City is also sinking. That's another cause. Effect of climate, of water usage. 50%. So Mexico City loses 50% to leaky pipes. I would use a direct quote, but I don't want to watch the video again. We value the water when we do not. We pollute and waste water when we do not value water. Okay, Mexico City loses around 50% of its water, its ITS water, to leaking pipes. Okay, that's so bad. My God. So this is from Netflix, 2020. Okay, this is a paraphrase. The guy was talking about this. If you don't want to listen to it again, then don't. But no, wait. I thought I put the transcript. I do have the transcript. Duh. Okay, leaking pipes. Oh, 42%. 40% of leakages in water network. Oh, okay. Loses half of its drinking water to leaking pipes. So let's use this one. One current was that what we have. Narrator. Mexico, which facing loses close to half of its drinking water. Let's use this quote. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna paste it in. Okay. Whenever I see you guys pasting, well, I can see you pasting. That's it. Okay. So then that's when you need to use these quotation marks, Mexico City, which is facing an existential water crisis, loses close to half of its drinking water to leaking pipes. Netflix 2020. This is a direct quote. Woohoo! It's good to have direct quotes. Paraphrase, don't use too many direct quotes. Try to use your words as often as you can. Makes you a better writer. Definitely. Especially when the quote is really long. Don't put in super long quotes. That's better to explain it in your own words. You get the practice. And it makes it, if half of your paper is quotations, it's not a good paper. I would probably mark you off a lot. Okay. So make sure that you limit the amount of quotation, direct quotes. Okay. Direct quotation from world's water crisis. We have to take a break soon. Now, I'm just going to give you a note here. Don't use too many direct quotes. But let me finish this before we end. I'll just give you 10 minutes still, okay? Which is facing an existential water crisis, loses close to half of its drinking water to leaking pipes. That's so bad, okay? If we valued water more and increased its price, companies, cities, municipalities, cities, and companies. I don't like making lists after a comma. Let's just say everyone. Everyone would use less of it. I think there are issues with poverty, poor people being affected more with, I don't like poor people. Let's say low income. It's a nice way of saying poor people. Low income. There are issues with low income people being affected strongly. But there are different techniques. They have like an income base, like the richer people paid more for water, poor people paid less. It's an equality thing, it's an equity thing. People will always fight that. There are issues of being affected strongly, but there are different techniques to solve this issue. And I'm going to conclude this by saying, in the end, if we value water more, then we will treat it like a, not just a resource, but treat it like a gift. Okay, something like that. I might question mark this. I might say word choice, but give myself some comments. Okay, I'm going to read this and then we're going to go. Valuing water more and increasing its price can help conserve and protect our water. Water is a commodity that everyone needs in order to survive. They mentioned that in Netflix. I might actually put that. Yeah, dude. I read it. I got the information from there. However, we did not value it enough until it is gone. Cape Town nearly ran out of water in 2018, but the people were able to conserve water once there was a crisis. We pollute and waste water when we do not value it. Mexico City, which is facing an existential water crisis, loses close to half of its drinking water to leaky pipes. That's a direct quote from Netflix. See, to me, this is too long. Like, I would just rewrite it in like 5 words. If we valued water more and increased its price, everyone would use less of it. There are issues with low-income people being strongly affected, but there would be, right? Issues low being, but there are different techniques to solve this issue. In the end, if we value water more, then we will treat it like a, what's another word? Not gift. Like a valuable resource. Yeah, valuable resource. Valuable something. Valuable gem. Semi-precious. Precious resource. Valuable. Okay. So yeah, I'm talking about valuing water. I mentioned value water. If we do that, we'll be able to save. It's a good K. Okay. And then we'll have to write our conclusion. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back at 10:35 when I'm 100 years old. No sooner than that. Come on. All right, we're going to get back to this essay. We're almost done. I'm just going to write a quick conclusion. We're going to have a completed essay. It's a little bit long. It's longer than what you normally would have to do. 600. So I might have to increase the word limit, the word minimum. I want it to be at least a page and a half. Okay. 2 pages is always good. Let's make 2 pages. Okay. So we're doing a 5-paragraph essay. We wrote 3 body paragraphs. Okay. I might only ask you guys to write 4-paragraph essay, because it's easier, it's quicker. But it's always good practice to write more, but to use less words to say more things. Okay. This is what we call the word is concise. Okay. You should always try to be concise, which is giving a lot of information clearly and in few words. Brief but comprehensive. Okay? Don't waste words. Okay? Don't repeat the same sentences over. Don't say something in 10 words that you can say in 5 words. Okay? It's always better. It's always smarter. Even when speaking. Okay? You always know. People who speak a lot and never stop, they usually have nothing good to say. Like this guy. I just talk all the time. Just silly things. But I know it scares me too. But you're watching me, right? And I'm making mistakes, and it's scary the first time you try anything, okay? It's scary when you've never really written an essay before. And I am a very serious teacher. So, and I also am very serious about helping you, okay? So whatever you write, if you make mistakes on your first draft, okay? A draft is we write it up, we have it all there, but it's not quite perfect yet. It's not what we're going to turn in. I will help you, okay? And if you need to have a conference where we talk on a face-to-face call, not face-to-face, on an online call, then, I can help you with your essay. You can see me correcting your paper, okay? If you need a lot of help, then I'm here. That's my job. That's what I love about online. I can be here for students anytime. But is it scary to watch me writing an essay, or do you see it valuable? Okay. I hope it's a valuable process for you to see. I think it's important that teachers show how to do the work. Okay. 1, it gives students confidence that the teacher knows what they're doing. But then 2, you get to see me making mistakes. You get to see me doing something. Maybe you don't understand all these words, but you can look them up, right? You can go into my essay. I'll send you the link again. Yeah, writing an essay scares me. Studying Turkish scares me. Speaking as another language is scary. You guys are great. I mean, the fact that you're, studying in English. I never had to study in another language. And so your ability to learn English is always going to be better than anybody who just moves to a country. Unless I'm studying for a purpose, the best way to learn a language is by learning other things in that language, right? So we're talking about water crisis. Maybe you learned something you didn't know before about Mexico City, about Cape Town, about desalination. And when you're learning something new in that language, it makes that language stay in your head, because maybe you didn't learn this in Turkish. In your first language, maybe you only learned something new in English, and it makes that connection that much stronger, right? You only remember the words sometimes in English. You maybe even forget what the words are in Turkish because you didn't learn it in Turkish. You learned it with your English teacher, Mr. Bob. Okay, let's write a conclusion quickly. Okay, how do I do conclusions? I want to restate the thesis statement, okay? And the thesis statement is this thing, possible solutions, okay? So we can say something. I don't like to start with in conclusion, duh. I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to erase it, okay? If you have to think about it like this, then yeah. There are many ways of solving the water crisis, the world's water crisis, including, okay, and I'm going to list out those things: desalination, conserving water resources, and valuing water more. Okay, so the best conclusions either summarize what you just talked about real quickly. Okay, you should list your thesis statement, and then you should do some kind of call to action, either through a question, so the question I might ask is, what would you do if there was no water left? Or what would you do if you only could use, I don't know, what did Cape Town use? 13 gallons or something? Sorry, I don't think in liters. About 13 gallons, which equals what? Google 13 gallon. You can ask AI. Equals how many liters? I have an app on my phone that does all this. 60, right? 60 liters. And if you watch this thing, I don't know if anybody has this Day Zero movie show, the water that they're using is only 25 liters. Okay, so imagine they say 60 liters is a human right. Okay, and valuing water more. I just listed my thesis statement, right? I paraphrased it. I rewrote my thesis statement. Great. Desalination, which means turning salty, brackish water to clean drinking water, is still a new technology that requires high amounts. And I don't usually use any kind of quotations in the conclusion. Okay, I don't add any new information. Okay, I don't want you to, unless that new information is going into the next paragraph, right, or a new essay. So you don't ever want to add new information. Okay, you just want to recycle the information you have. Okay, if you add, I've seen students add new information like, and we can also, I don't know, what's another method of conserving water? Like, we can also put people in prison for using too much water. Like, that's new. Don't say something like that. You should have used it already. Don't add new information. I always see students do this. If it doesn't belong in there, if it's just one sentence, cut it out. Okay, it requires high amounts of energy and money. Okay, conserving water requires that people also conserving water. Let's say by reducing and requires that people also value water more. I'm going to combine those last two things into one. They're kind of related. They have a connection to each other. Valuing water more. If we value water as a precious commodity, precious, right? Not just like everyday commodity. What do you guys think about commodity? Let's look up the word. Okay. So remember the word concise. Okay. That's how you should be as an intellectual, as a friend, as a partner. Just like limit giving a lot of information, but say it in a few words. That's how you become smart. Raw material or primary agricultural product that can be bought and sold, such as copper or coffee. So anything like this, right? Water is a commodity. Copper and coffee, iron, all of those things are things that we buy, we make, people make and they buy, and they're like the base products. They're not. It's not like a technology thing. Even though I think now maybe telephones and computers are commodities because they're so common, right? At least smartphones are. If we value water as a precious commodity, we will be less likely to waste and pollute it. We didn't really talk about pollution, but I would say that that's more of an effect, right? But yeah, people will pollute water. They'll just throw all the wastewater into Marmara Sea. And then there's the sea snot, like every summer now. Okay, so cool. I just listed the thesis statement. I just quickly summarized all of those paragraphs, right, into the most important parts. This is your job as an academician, an academic. There's some words I just can't say, guys. Okay, just take the most important parts of it. Basically, just take the topic sentences of your thesis statement, right? Valuing water, increasing its price. My topic sentence is still a new technology to be able to protect they currently have. People need to conserve and protect the water they currently have. Desalination is turning brackish water from sea into clean, usable water. What did I do? I just basically rewrote my topic sentences. That is a trick. If you have a good topic sentence, then you explain it well. Then you can use it again. And then you can rewrite it because it's a good topic sentence. Bam. Sorry. Conserving water by reducing uses requires that people also value water more. If we value water as a precious commodity, we will be less likely to waste and pollute it, right? Can help conserve and protect our water. See? Similar ideas, different words, same author, you. Okay? And now I'm going to end with like a call to action, okay? Or a question to make people think, okay? And if you remember from our previous talks about conclusions and paragraphs, we want to end with kind of a strong finish that makes people think, okay? So always asking a question, not always, but asking a question can do that. But, I think the purpose of this essay for me as a academician, is to help people understand about water, how to conserve it, what we can do, what kind of causes it, and what are our solutions, right? We're focused on solutions, so why don't we make people solve something? I'm going to do the whole imagine if you only had 60 liters of water in a day. To use for everything. Would you Let's start with imagine if there's a day zero in your city. What if you only had 60 liters to use? What if you only had 60 liters of water in a day to use for everything? What if you had only 25 liters? Would you be able to conserve and value that water? Okay. I don't know. We will probably find out. We will soon find out in the near future if we don't save our water. If we don't use don't. If we do not value our water. I think that's what the biggest thing about this video was about. It's the world water crisis. But the biggest point that they're trying to make is we do not value water enough. We don't put enough price on it. Not that we should make people poor to use water, but, even if it costs nothing, we should think about our water as like a living thing, as a god, as a thing that gives us water. The Japanese think of water as God. Native Americans also look at bodies of water like a spiritual being. So you don't destroy it because you value it as a life-giving thing. For some reason, Western countries, we just throw all of our junk in it. Okay. How many words do I have? And I would reread this. Maybe I'll just make you guys read it. Find any errors. Let's do a word count. I have 708 characters, okay? About 600 words with Times New Roman 12, double spaced, with 1-inch margins. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. A4 paper is about 600-ish words, okay? 600, 700. So half of that would be 300 here-ish. This is probably 300 words, right? Not including that stuff. Almost 300, okay? There's no way you guys can write 200 words only, okay? If you do, you're not going to be able to get a good score. Okay, so look at this. Click on it. I see the dolphin in there. Everybody else, if you're online, if you're watching this video, I want you now to read through this essay. See if you agree. Watch the video again. See if it matches up with what you think. We're talking about solutions. We're writing a division and classification essay about solutions. Not about causes and effects, because that's what we're doing next. Okay. In conclusion, there are many ways of solving the waters crisis. I'm going to read this again. I reread the other stuff. Let's pretend. Including desalination, conserving water resources, and valuing water more. Desalination, which means turning salty, brackish water to clean drinking water, is still a new technology that requires high amounts of energy and money. Conserving water by reducing and limiting high water use. That doesn't sound right. Conserving water by reducing and limiting high water use items. Things. By reducing our dependency on high water use items. Requires the people also value water more. If we value water as a precious commodity, precious, like gold, we will be less likely to waste and pollute it. Okay, this is what this movie talks about. The docu-series talks about, like, what if water is the next petroleum? Okay, petroleum goes up in value. It's going to be traded on the stock market. Imagine if the water from your rivers is like a company owns 50% of that water and they can take it whenever they want. Is that fair? It's a capitalism. By reducing our dependence on high water usage requires the people also value water more. If we value water as a precious commodity, we will be less likely to waste and pollute it. Imagine if there's a day zero in your city. What if you only had 60 liters of water in a day to use for everything? What if you had only 25 liters? Would you be able to conserve and value that water? We will soon find out in the near future if we do not value our water. I don't need the if here. I mean the comma. Okay, that's it. It took longer than I thought. We have our reference here, okay? And remember we made this reference on what Scribbr. Where's my Scribbr? Citation generator. Whoops. I have some references that I've made already. Awesome Blossom. Why is there only 2? Right? If we search for it, we can just put in the URL, the link to this explained video. Where's the video? Even this, let's say you use this, right?
Çok da yüklenmememiz lazım. Öyle mi?
Öyle mi? Sorry. It's good practice for me. Let's say that you also use this video or something else. And if you put it in video, we can press the cite button, cite, to make the citation. National Geographic Turkey, 2019, October 29, 25 liters. This is the site. That's your reference, right? And when you want to make the in-text citation, you're going to say National Geographic Turkey 2019. Turkey. Right? So you can have the parenthetical one. That's what it's called. The paraphrase one. Let's say you say, in Istanbul, people will be limited to 25 liters a day based on the video. If I wanted to paraphrase that, according to the video. This makes it for you if you take the quotation. According to video, daily consumption in Istanbul will be capped at 25 liters. See? And then you can use that. Let's say that was a direct quote. This is cheating, but whatever. Let's see what it says with the Mexico City thing. It's not cheating if you learn from it. That's what I say. If you never use it again, then it's cheating. This is not from this one, sorry. But you get it. Nearly half of the drinking water which experienced an existential water crisis is lost due to leaking pipes. This is not a good paraphrase. This would still be considered plagiarism. It's just switching the order of things. Just changing 1 or 2 words. That's not good. Don't use that, guys. But if you, trash in, trash out. Okay, if you write a bad sentence, it's going to give you trash anyways. So maybe do it. See what it looks like. Okay, so that's it. We wrote a paper. Look through this video. Watch the video again. Look at our notes. I'm going to include... This is all the information. Look at my notes. Take your own notes when you watch the video. Watch this other hypothetical video about, day 0 in Istanbul in the near future. Here's our brainstorming, pre-writing, how we generated, these different solutions. You might generate those solutions by brainstorming, just thinking of it, by watching the video, by reading articles. You write down the things that you think are important. You might have them just outside these boxes, and then you start moving them, into categories, right? We want to start to classify information. We want to divide it in a logical way. This is your job as academicians. To be students is to think about how to throw categories around. I love it when someone is flying. There you go. What up, visiting maker? All right. And then read through this essay. I'm going to close this one. Read through the essay, okay? See what you like. See if there's a mistake. Tell me if there's a mistake, okay? Look through these notes that I put in. What does it mean to do a citation? You're going to have to do one, okay? I'm going to require that you learn how to do this. It might be difficult for you. You might say, what is this? I don't know how to do it. It's okay. It's okay. You know, everything, the first time you do it, is stressful. It's anxiety ridden, but you'll get used to it. Everybody gets used to things. Okay? We got used to a pandemic, okay? If you can get used to the pandemic, you can get used to writing an essay. Which one is more difficult? The essay is more difficult. Public speaking is probably more difficult than writing an essay. All right. What do I always think about this quote from New Girl, where it's like Taylor Swift made it in New York City. If she can do it, I can do anything. Another Taylor Swift reference. Okay, enough. Any questions about the essay writing? What scares you about writing an essay? Okay. Just always think about it as a journey. You know, if you're going to travel somewhere for 2 weeks, you first have to begin with something. Something is always pre-travel, okay? Pre-writing. You pack your bags. You make a list of things you need, okay? You have like a month before your trip. You start to pack maybe your suitcase early. You look at it again. You say, no, I don't need that. You know, you think about where you might want to go. Are you going to go swimming? Are you going to go in a car? If you need like an international driver's license, if you need these shoes or those shoes, you know, will you be walking a lot? Will you be moving between cities and cities? Okay. All of those things you have to do before you travel, right? Because you don't want to go buy everything. You don't want to be without something and you can't do something because you didn't bring the right something, equipment or shoes or clothes to go to a fancy dinner. You know, and you can't plan for everything, but you can make your trip a lot smoother, right? And then once you take your trip, you start writing, right? And you're like, I went to Paris. We went to the blah, blah, blah. You know, you're explaining in your paragraph, in your introduction about, you know, what you're bringing, what kind of trip you're taking. Maybe the second paragraph, this, you know, the second part of your trip. First part of your trip is Paris, so you write about that. You know, what you did, what you didn't do. You know, when you plan out your trip well, the trip usually works out well. I mean, there's always a problem, right? We run into a obstacle, a wall, something prevents us from enjoying everything fully. But once we figure it out, it's just smooth, right? And the best thing about travel, even if it's like, even if you had a terrible, not completely, if you had like a bad luck at certain places or you lost something or you got lost, at the end of it, when you look back at your travel, you think, I'm so happy I did that. You know, it was difficult, but I learned so much about myself. I had fun. I was scared. I was nervous, but I like improved. And I, you know, same thing with this writing process. Okay. You're not going to be a good writer the first time you write an essay. You're not even going to write a good sentence the first time you write a sentence, you know. Most of you might not even be able to write a good sentence yet. Now you have to write essays. Okay, so don't worry about not being great at it. Okay, do it, learn, put the energy you need into doing it. Okay, it's like if you've never ridden a bicycle and you're having a race with everybody, well, you might have to do a little bit more work than everybody else to be able to win this race, but you can do it. Okay, give yourself time, give yourself some patience. I would say especially just give yourself time and let yourself fail sometimes. Make a mistake, learn from your mistake, find ways of learning how to find your mistakes. You might use something like Grammarly, or using Google Docs. If you make any mistakes, make sure you change the language to English United States, the dillar. Change it to English, okay? And then it's going to help you with the spelling. I don't care, spelling you learn over time if you write. If you don't write, you're never going to learn how to spell. That's just the way it is. Questions? No. Great. Okay. We have a lot to do still. I have to give you your assignment. But yeah, we have all these different tools